Okay, it's working. I wasn't sure it was working. So, hello and welcome to first video in years. So today I was thinking, what it says in the title, of discussing, because this is something that I wish I had done my research for or been told about, but just I guess stuff, what to expect for art GCSE, and I guess the structure of the sketchbook, because obviously I'm about to go through my sketchbook, but I think it's something I wish I would have done, because I mean you'll see as I go through it that there's points where I think I just kind of lost myself a little bit, which is why, not lost myself but like lost the journey, but which is why I'm going to go through the rough structure of it for those of you in year 9 who are thinking of taking art. At least then you'll know what to expect when you start, and you can start maybe thinking of, I don't know, like your theme idea or what to do, what background to do. But yeah, obviously this will not be the same for every single school. Obviously if you go to my school then and you're in year 9, then obviously it will be pretty much the exact same structure for you, but obviously if you go to a different school it will be like roughly the same, because they have to follow, it depends on your exam board as well. My exam board is, I think it was, OCR, so mine was OCR, so I guess this is for OCR mostly, but it will kind of roughly be the same for everyone. So let's do this. So my theme was identity, so this was my mind map. I think it might be mirrored, but that's okay. So this was my mind map, which is kind of, that's what you kind of start with. So all you got to do really on here is just put, obviously, because I'm doing A-level at the minute, so I would definitely do this very different, but that's not the point. You just kind of got to roughly do what your identity, what relates to your theme, and that's mind map, I guess. So the first thing you do would be a mind map, and then it would, or a title page, if you want to do a title page. I didn't do a title page, I just kind of did it without, if you don't want to do a title page, that's fine. And then I had my mood board. So these are all the things I really like, or because it's my theme's identity. So, and then here I have some recording. This was the only bit of recording I did, I think, up until I did my development, which we'll come to that, which probably isn't great. If I would recommend doing more recording before you start going to artist research and stuff, because this was the only bit I did. So yeah, this was literally all I did. And then here I would recommend, at least if you're doing GCSE, it doesn't matter so much if you don't have a gallery visit, but I know in A-level it does matter more, at least for the exam board that I'm doing. But for GCSE, you don't technically need a gallery visit, but I would 100% recommend it. And then this technically is one of my artists, but we were told as a whole class, because the whole of my year group everyone who did art GCSE had to do this artist. And then this was my first artist response, beautiful sketch. And then that was my second artist response there. So, and then I did Frida Kahlo. She was my first proper artist. I really loved what I did here. Really loved it. I didn't like the response I did for her. I think I could have done better, but I'm not going to show it because I really don't like it. But this was my first response, and then yeah, my second response, I really don't like it. So yeah, you'll need, this is all my artist research stuff. Then my third artist, well, technically second if this is the second one that I picked, so technically my second artist. And then the response I did for that was my first response, and then I combined it to create that, my second response. I'm trying my best. She was definitely one of my favourite artists that I ever did. I really liked her work. It was Yeo Kusama, I don't know how to say her name, but I really liked her work. So yeah, you technically need roughly 3 artists of your choice when you're doing art GCSE. You may need to pick a 4th one, which I'll show you in a minute why. That was my first response, and that was my second response. So I think, yeah, that was the pictures I used for it, that was the references. This was when I was planning for my mock exam, so this, yeah, I would have done that like exactly a year ago. So I had my mock in, actually not exactly, 2 years ago. That would have been 2 years ago. Wow. Oh. So this was me preparing for my mock exam in 2024, my year 10 mock. So that, and then I did that was my mock exam, but obviously I had to log it as recording, so that's technically recording. And then here is where my development starts. So yeah, so development is basically the route you kind of like, all the experimenting and stuff you do to be able to develop yourself ready to create your final piece for your sketchbook. So that is my mood board, because you have to do another mood board, another mind map just for your development, just to kind of show what you're looking into. And I was going to look in, so I was basically going to look into autism, because I'm autistic, and how that affects me. And you know, as you can see, you can tell how long these have been stuck down. That was my mind map. I actually preferred that a lot more to what I did for my density one, and I love the dry paint at the bottom here. Some things are like falling off and getting unstuck, but it's whatever. And then here I did some experimentation, a lot of experimentation, just to get the right idea, because I knew I wanted to do something like this with texture and colour. Because to me, I see, because obviously my female identity, I see the autism mind as a lot of colour, a lot of, not chaos, but just loads of vibrant patterns, because it feels like every single day I feel a mixture of different things, and I feel like that was very good to represent it, not like the puzzle. That was, I got lost again, as you can see, but that was just, oh, I think I missed a page. Yeah, that was my colour thing, and that was what I did for that, because I wanted to look at colour, because obviously I wanted to do something to do with colour, so it made sense. I didn't have enough drawings, as you can see. I probably only had one sketch from my entire book. The teacher was like, you need to do some more. So this is actually probably one of my favourite pages out of the whole thing. This went through 3 pens, by the way. I know it's got nothing to do with the thing, but I just need to express how many gel pens I went just for this little squiggle. Obviously, at the time I thought these sketches were really good, and they are very good, but I would definitely change them now, and I won't be doing it personally, so. But yeah, just more, that's the flower from Tangle, by the way. That one I actually do like, frog. Then, what's this one? I don't know what this one is. Oh, my mushrooms. I do like that one. Yeah, so I had to do more recording, because I hadn't done enough. Okay, so these are where I had more art galleries, like, they don't really, I don't know why I put them in here, because they didn't have anything to do with me. So we're just going to skip all the pages. Now here's where I was talking about another artist. So it was me and my teacher that decided to do a 4th artist for my development. And you don't need to bring in a 4th artist. This artist specifically has autism himself, and then did all this stuff. Definitely worth doing a 4th artist for your development if you feel like your work needs it, which is what my teacher basically said. And then here's where I went on to go some experience, because you don't have to do a response to that artist. I just did some experiments with ink based off the work he had done, exploring colours and what things I wanted to do, basically. This was where I explored, what did I explore? Patterns. So because I wanted to include mushrooms and frogs, which are my literally 2 favourite things in the whole world. I wouldn't say they're my special interest, but like, you know, a lot of autistic people have that. I would definitely say they are up there, like I'm obsessed with them, so that's why I wanted to include them. So I wanted to talk about the patterns in there, because like you got little like swirls, you got the dots and the frog there and stuff like that. Talk about how to include that. And then here I was thinking about texture. Anyway, so here was my first idea that I did for development, as you can see. And the thing is, there's a problem with me when, and that's not a problem with me, it's my autism. When you tell me to just do rough sketches of what the thing is, that is what I create with a rough sketch. Yeah, like you can see, like when I get told about a rough sketch, that I take that very literally, and I would just create really rough sketches because that's what you told me to do. But yeah, so I created very rough sketches of my ideas. So here I wanted to look at colours that I could possibly use in the background, similar as the autumn brain, like the background stuff. Here I was looking at what texture I could possibly add, but I didn't end up using any of this. I decided to use gold plates. Yeah, that was me testing out the background basically. I love this background. I think I prefer it to the one I actually ended up using. Oh, I love it so much. But it's so difficult to recreate stuff that you love. You know, this is basically all just experimentation and trying out what is going to work with my final piece. That's basically what the whole rest of it is. I was deciding whether or not to use pen or paint, and I was doing rough sketches. And then here, I was waiting whether or not to go on pen or gold in there, like to show, a gold pen to show like where the edges or the gaps, I don't know if you can see the gold pen on that, but it is there. So here was where I was basically exploring flowers, because I wanted to include flowers as well, because flowers symbolize a lot of emotions, and autism can involve so many emotions and so many things all at the same time, or they can quickly switch between different emotions. So yeah, I was looking at, I wasn't going to do the shapes of the flowers because I knew I would hate that, probably being a bit lazy of me, not gonna lie. But I was going to look at the colours. I love colours and stuff like that. And then my final piece is actually on the side, but it's not the real one, this is just a photocopy. That was what I ended up creating. So, but yeah, that was what I ended up doing. I think I would change a lot of things about this. I think it looks very busy, but if you think about it, that is what my mind feels like sometimes. And yeah, it was gold pen that I ended up using. I'm going to show you the real one in a minute. But yeah, it was gold pen that I ended up using. And then that is it. That is it. But yeah, that's what I have it hung up. That's what it that's what the actual version looks like. Yeah, so that is the rough structure of what an art GCSE book would roughly look like. Obviously, I got a grade 6, so mine probably isn't the best example. And if you do want to do, if you're in year 9 and want to pick art GCSE, I would 100% recommend it. I know a lot of people say it's quite stressful, but I think the only time I found art GCSE stressful was towards the end of actually the subject, when we were actually doing more detail work, because it was all like rush, you gotta get this all done. But that was like, I think probably in the last few weeks of it, I kept pretty on time and with all the deadlines and stuff, and I ended up being fine. So yeah, I would definitely recommend it, especially if you like art and stuff, because I know a lot of people say, oh, it ruins your interests. I'm still creating art. But yeah, so hopefully that has helped anyone to kind of visualize it a bit better. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.